Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the previous video, there was a discussion about how the shaitan, the devil, deceives the human being about the life after death, how he makes a person so involved, engrossed in the short, uncertain life of this world, and makes him forget that there is a never ending, certain life after death. So, this is one of the challenges that a human being faces in this life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this life as a trust to the human being, and the trust means that a person is accountable. When we say, this is my life, this is my body, this is all wrong, because everything comes from Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made us responsible. He has given us eyes, He's given us mind, body, hands, feet, all these body parts, all these are amanat, trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a day will come when the body will testify, the eyes will testify, the hands will testify. Everything which has been given to us by Allah as a trust will be witnesses as to how they were used. So this is something the shaitan makes us forget. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the shaitan the big deceiver. He keeps people involved in useless activities. All day long, they spend their time in activities that may have nothing, no benefit in this world. And this is all because human being, the nafs, which is another enemy of the human being, is deceived by the shaitan. That's why knowledge of the Quran, knowledge that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is very essential to keep us on the right track. Otherwise, the time will be gone and we'll have regrets. So this is an effort to keep reminding. The prophets came to remind, to guide, to warn, to give glad tidings. You see, if a person spends his life in useless activities under the label of art, culture, entertainment, fun, etc., that time will be gone. No deeds will be recorded in his favor. If the person is doing things that are pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then those things will be something that will carry weight on the scale, on the balance on the Day of Judgment. There's a hadith, something to the effect that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a person has three brothers. One of them goes as far as his death, the other goes as far as his grave, and the other one, the third one, goes with him into the grave. And the Sahaba asked, who are these? And he said, a person's worldly possessions, his property, his money, whatever he has, is only his till the time he dies. And after that, it goes to somebody else. So it's not his anymore. The other brother is the one, the relatives, the friends, whatever, they go to the grave to bury him. And after they've buried him, they come back. And he's there by himself. But the third brother who goes with him in the grave is his deeds, the things that he has done, pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he asked, which brother is the best? And the Sahaba said, obviously, the third one who goes with him into the grave. So this is something that knowledge that does not come from science. Science is helpless, cannot tell us these things. Science can only tell us what can be observed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about a life that will start, and one has to work for that life in this world. The shaitan makes us work so hard, day and night, for a short, uncertain life, and he makes us forget that there is work to be done for the akhirah. People get the impression that akhirah is free. You just get it without doing anything. This is one of the big deceptions of the shaitan. The akhirah is not free. One has to work for the akhirah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this body. Allah has given us the resources, the material things, everything which are to be used just like we use our bodies and our intelligence and our resources to benefit us in this dunya. We have to use these for the benefit of the akhirah. And this is something that comes to us from the Quran. This is not something that some philosopher came up with or some poet or scholar came up with. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has given us all the important things that have to be done. And if we have no knowledge of that, we will have nobody to blame except our own selves. And shaitan will keep us engrossed, busy with things that if they are not sins, they will be just wasting of time. Just see at the internet how many millions and millions of people are viewing things that are total waste of time. They bring no benefit even in this dunya. And the shaitan comes and gives arguments that this is art, this is culture, this is entertainment, makes people busy with activities that will bring no reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So 24 hours have to be used in a way that will benefit a person. And the beauty of Islam is that when a person spends the 24 hours according to the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he gets the benefits of that even in this life. So the first benefits start coming here, but the real benefits are the ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has reserved for that person. And this is something that all the prophets from the time of Adam alayhi salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they preached and invited mankind to that life. So this knowledge, of course, is there for anyone to benefit from. And this is the challenge for all the Muslims in the world, how they can bring this knowledge to mankind. Most mankind are not even aware that there's a huge amount of knowledge that is there for their benefit. Just think how many people are going to doctors, psychiatrists, all kind of getting treatments because they're depressed. They don't know how to handle life. They go to doctors, they give them medicines, they numb their nerves, they give them temporary relief thinking the problem is gone. But the problem is not gone, it's still there. The depression comes because the person is not connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This heart is made for the remembrance of Allah. This is the trust from Allah. This heart was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep Allah in his thoughts, to keep Allah in his mind all the time. And when this heart is not attached, it's not happy. It goes into depression. And some people find ways to deal with that through different activities. And some are not able to do that. And then they turn to doctors, and they turn to medicines, and some turn to drugs, some turn to alcohol. So this is a tragedy that people suffer, millions and millions of people suffer all over the world because they're not aware. And even the doctors many times are not aware because what they have studied doesn't talk about the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Their knowledge comes from their observation. They see people suffering and they give them medicines and they cool them down, just like giving anesthesia to a person. The pain goes away, but the underlying cause of the pain is still there. When the effect of anesthesia goes away, then the pain comes back. The same with alcohol. People drink and for some time they forget their worries. But when the effect of alcohol goes away. It's the worries come back, and then they keep going back, and then they get addicted. They get just dependent, and this is no way to solve the problem. The problem is somewhere else. The problem is in the thinking. The thinking of the person has been distorted by shaitan. Shaitan is all the time giving wrong ideas, wrong thoughts, because his goal is to waste human capabilities, human intelligence. So this is a test that every human being faces. He is facing a deadly enemy who is trying to destroy his life in this world and also in the next world, and more importantly in the next world. Because Shaitan is not afraid of a person who is disobedient to Allah and the world is coming to him. He's very rich, he's very powerful. Shaitan is not afraid of that, because Shaitan knows that this person will end up in misery. And he doesn't bother that. How many people, if you go to the graves and see how many of these people who had great wealth, they had beautiful faces, they had everything of this dunya. But if you go there, you can't tell who these people were. In the grave, you'll see just bones, if that. And you cannot tell how successful this person was when he was alive. So his wealth, his beauty, his material possessions, everything deceived him. He went to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any deeds to his account. He came into this world without anything, and he left the world without anything. What he could have done was he could have carried with him the deeds that are pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Quran is again and again reminding people, reminding mankind, that Allah has a system. Allah did not create the akhirah just to give people a reward regardless of what they do. Allah keeps threatening people in the Quran about the hellfire. Save yourselves and your families from the fire whose fuel is men and stones. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps giving people glad tidings of a life which is full of pleasures, never-ending pleasures. The pleasures of Jannah will never end. There will be no distress, no anxiety, no disease, no death, the things that worry people. Even the richest and the most powerful people have worries. And of course, the greatest worry they have is that they will die. Even with all the things that they have, and the thought comes to their mind that one day all this is going to end, that makes them worried. And to forget that, they get busy themselves in activities that they forget that there is a life coming after this. So the Quran is a reminder, and believers are supposed to remind. Rasulullah said, a Muslim wishes for his brother what he wishes for himself. A Muslim cannot be selfish, because he knows from the Quran that there is a standard. Allah has fixed certain rules, and Allah will do complete justice. Everything is visible, everything is known by Allah. Nothing is hidden, even a speck of dust. Everything is being recorded, as if there was like a secret camera recording everything. A person will be shown his record, and then he will realize where he went wrong. So these are reminders for ourselves that life was not created for just play and sport. Allah didn't create it for just to be a spectator how human beings react. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this for a purpose and keeps reminding. He sent guidance through prophets, through human beings. And at every given time in history, there have been people who have guided mankind to the right path. So no one can say that we were not guided. So all the useless activities, millions and millions of people who are engaged in just for pleasure, for fun, just because this is a weapon of the shaitan. He makes people enjoy the things that are destructive. Just see how many people are doing things that are destroying their lives. And he's kept enjoyment of that. And the things that are beneficial, there is a struggle, like praying 5 times a day. There is an effort. Rasulullah said, Salat is the best jihad. It's a struggle. It's beneficial in this life and in the next. Listening to music, for example, may be a lot of pleasure, a lot of fun. But these things take people away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just imagine how many hours people spend listening to music, how many hours they spend watching films, how many hours they spend doing other activities that bring no benefit, just pleasure for that time, just to while away the time. And we didn't come into this world just to while away our time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent us into the world to make our akhirah, to do things which will be rewarded in the akhirah. Why Allah talks about heaven and hell so many times? Because that's the place of reward and punishment. If paradise was free, you don't have to do anything about it, then one can find ways to spend one's time and get enjoyment out of that. But enjoyment Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is kept in the akhirah. And just like we go to our jobs for our dunya benefits, we have to do things that will give us the rewards in the akhirah. So people can understand the rewards in this dunya because they see that with their own eyes. They work hard, they get a salary, and then they get the benefit of that. So they can see the rewards of that in this life. But they don't see the rewards in the akhirah. That requires iman. And iman comes with effort. It comes with reminder. Iman is not something that a child is born with, just like a child is not born with knowledge. A child is totally ignorant. The human child is completely ignorant. He has to be taught about this dunya. He has to be taught about the akhirah. And unfortunately, most people in the world only teach the children about the dunya. But who is going to teach them about the needs of the akhirah? This is why Allah sent the books. He sent the prophets. And now the ummah of Rasulullah, the last ummah, has the responsibility. Every single Muslim who understands this has a responsibility to pass this knowledge to people so that they cannot say, nobody told us. Every Muslim has a responsibility toward the children, to the family, to learn and teach. This is a grave responsibility. The human beings didn't come here just to enjoy the pleasures of life. Generally speaking, people work hard during the week and then they take the weekend off to enjoy themselves. This is not the purpose of life. Or they get retired and then they start traveling around the world for sightseeing or whatever. This is not the purpose why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. If He had created the human being for that, He would have told them that this is why I created. You work hard, earn your wealth, and then enjoy yourselves. There's not a single verse in the Quran or in the Hadith. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created human being. So the human being doesn't even know, and scientists cannot tell them. Philosophers cannot tell them. No philosopher in the world can tell these things. No matter how great the philosophers are, because their knowledge does not come from Allah. It's not coming from revelation. Only the prophets got revelation. Only the books of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are revelation. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the understanding. Wa akhir dawana in alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.